And we're live. Welcome back. What you focus on expands. This is episode 31. And with me today, I have three amazing experts from all over the globe. Three guys today. What a coincidence. Would you like to introduce yourself quickly, Bimal? What is it that you do, Bimal? And where are you
Hi,
from?
I'm Bimal Raj. I'm based in Hyderabad, India, and I'm a parenting coach. I coach parents as well as teenagers, and I conduct workshops for them.
Okay.
That's in a nutshell.
Parenting is very, very demanding these days,
Oh,
depending on where you live. If the
yeah.
crisis is still very active or not that much anymore. All right, thank you. What about you, Rakesh?
Hey everybody, this is Rakesh calling in from Berlin, Germany. And I help teams work better, stay healthy, and continue to be creative. So, this is very key to collaboration. So, when teams are working together, they have conflicts. At the same time, they enjoy doing things together. And I try to encourage them to use the Google Design Sprint method, which helps them cut down the time to bring products into the real world.
That's super helpful because when you're reinventing your business and your life after the crisis, you can get it done faster. That'll be better. Very good, very
Totally.
useful. Thank you for sharing this. What about you, Mert?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Mert Bürian, and I'm connecting from Geneva. Originally, I'm a marketing consultant working in a company, but I also have huge passion for personal development, how to transform yourself, become better at what you do, develop your mental toughness, get things done. And I provide trainings both to my colleagues, and I also put some trainings on Udemy. And I also work on writing a book, which is going to come out soon. The name is going to be Optionlessness. And it's about helping people achieve their dream projects without quitting.
Right. Okay. Yes. Perseverance.
Yeah.
Super important. Thank you, Mert. Well, what would you like to share with us today? Just a quick overview.
Today, I can share my own personal story about what I did when this crisis happened, some of my choices, and how those choices turned this crisis moment into something really valuable and something really fulfilling. I can share that journey. And I can also share some learnings that I generated around how to stick to your goal without quitting at the face of adversity, which is the topic of my book.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Also super useful, yes, in these times. And if you want to ask any questions, please put them in the comment. I see a couple of people joined in already. Would you please write in the comments where you're from, where you're dialing in from, so we can greet you. And let's start with Bimal, parenthood in times of
Yes.
crisis. Please, go ahead.
Okay. Parenting is very, very crucial, not just in times of a crisis, but generally, because what I say is that we are using 19th century parenting skills to bring up 20th century kids, and we are trying to prepare them for the 21st century. And then we are surprised why things are not working and we are not able to connect with kids. So it's very important as parents to get educated, because times have changed very, very rapidly from 1995, when internet became commercialized. The way people interact, they make friends, get information and education. So there's an information overload, and we have never been exposed to the kind of pressures and things and the information overload our kids have been exposed to. Okay, so wherever you are and wherever you can find, get more information, get updated on how to handle the new generation, how to connect with them, because our methods are not going to work anymore. That's the first thing that I want to share. It's very important to get educated in this particular skill, because the rewards last for generations.
Can you give us an example, Bimal? What do you mean by that? Our methods are not going to work anymore.
Okay, for the simple fact that we complain about kids being on the cell phone for a very long time. They're addicted to games and stuff
Right.
like that, and we get very uh, panic about the fact that they're playing a lot of games. But the fact is that there is a study, which is a research, that shows that kids who play action games have a higher brain capacity. So where do you draw the line? Do you let them play because the brains are getting developed? How much do you let them play? So you need to understand that it's all about moderation. Okay, just keeping them away from your social media or from an online gaming is not going to work, because they have a lot of avenues there. They can just go to their friend's place and just do whatever they want to do. I've seen parents who have been very strict. The kids have gone extreme, just the opposite way. So you need to build a connect with them so that you have an understanding that, okay, you want to do social media, that's fine, but these are the things that you need to take care of. And
Ah,
the kids,
okay.
yeah, the kids will listen to you only if you have that connect.
So
You
give them
can't just
some guidelines rather than just say no.
yeah, give them guidelines on what are the right principles or right practices that they should do when they're on a social media.
Mhm.
I'll give you a very small statistics that, 1 in 5 teenagers have been approached with a sexual solicitation. Okay, that's a statistic. But what is alarming is that out of all the kids who received a sexual solicitation, less than 25% of them actually confided in the parent that this happened. And
Ah,
that's what is going to change.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and
So,
that will only, yeah, that'll only happen if you have a great connect where the child can express themselves freely without being scared of being admonished, being given a big lecture and stuff
right,
like that.
right. So create an environment of openness and making
Absolutely.
mistakes is okay and sharing is okay and okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, very good advice. Thank you. I'm gonna put that up on the screen. Create an open environment at home. Super important. Yes. Thank you. What's next? What else?
Next is, when I talk to parents, I ask them what's their long-term vision for their kids, and they talk a lot of things. They want them to be kind, gentle, purposeful. You have empathy, integrity, and all that kind of stuff. But the next question I ask them is that, okay, this is your vision for your kids for the future, but do you display all these characteristics on a day-to-day basis when you interact with them? That's the tricky question, because what happens is that most of the time we do not have a long vision of our kids, how they're going to turn out. So what happens is that we end up focusing on behaviors, day-to-day behaviors.
Hmm.
So the entire focus becomes, how can I get them to do what I want them to do? And we start insisting on certain things, certain behaviors which we think are the right practices that they should be doing. So, what my advice to all parents is that focus on the relationship instead of behaviors. Okay, because if you build a strong relationship with your child, the behaviors can be adjusted, behaviors can be changed along the way. Okay, focus on behaviors instead of, sorry, focus on relationship instead of behavior. That's,
Okay.
I want
Nice.
to
Yes.
say.
Nice. Rather than micromanaging, you mean?
Yes, rather than micromanaging on what you need to do now, what you need to do next, and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Do you guys have anything to say to that, Mert and Rakesh? Do you have kids yourself?
Yeah, I've got 2 kids, and I totally agree. This is what I try to do, and I really understand. I sometimes focus on changing behaviors, and it doesn't work at all. The more I say don't do it,
Mhm.
she keeps doing it. But then I have a trusted relationship with her, and sometimes we reflect when she's about to sleep, and then I tell her, what you did today was not right, and you have to do this and that, and then she understands. But at the moment of the behavior, it's really,
Ah,
really difficult. Yeah.
right. So reflection works better than
Mm.
instant reprimanding.
I don't have kids of my own, but I interact a lot with my nieces, kids of my cousins, and I find it very interesting to learn a lot from them. I see them as sources of learning. And to exactly what you're talking about, Bimal, to build this relationship so that we can talk about almost anything under the universe. so that it doesn't become awkward or anything, So I find that to be the best part for me. What can I learn from them, and how can we just have some very good conversations and be open enough to talk about a lot of things.
Right, right. Very good. I mean, what Bimal is sharing here, this applies to, I think, any kind of relationship. It's not just a relationship with
Yep.
your kids.
True.
Or
Absolutely.
with your teams, create an open culture where
Yep.
people can make mistakes, where
Very
it's
much.
okay to say when something happened, where you're not going to be really with the hammer.
A lot
We
of
are,
teams struggle with that micromanaging boss who is trying to
Yes.
follow your every step. So
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
but
totally.
normally we are much nicer to our colleagues in office than we are to our kids.
Wow.
It's an unfortunate fact.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. Because also it ties up your energy. If you're trying to micromanage your kids, follow them around, or your team, I mean, you're better off doing something more constructive with that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bimal, was that it? Or do you have one more thing for us?
Oh, I do 3-day workshops, so I can go on and
Yeah,
on.
I know.
So one small thing that I would like to share is that I observed it especially during this lockdown period. A lot of parents come and say that we don't know what to do with our kids. Please understand that I had a recent interaction with someone very well qualified. He was saying that the child was very helpful, supportive, and everything. And now that the lockdown has started, he's become very anti. He's shouting all the time, very angry and stuff. So I asked him, what is the kind of schedule your kid have? What is the structure that you've created? He said, no structure. How much time do you spend with the child? I said, no, we don't really spend time. So I said, then I asked the question, how much screen time or the game time does the child have in a day? He said about 8 to 10 hours.
What?
Okay, you don't need
Okay.
yeah, you don't need an expert to know that that's not good and it's going to affect the child's brain. So it's very important that you give a structure to your children. Okay, they do not have don't give them it's a huge responsibility for them to figure out a 12-hour day. You sit with them. I mean, I have an 11-year-old. I sat with her and I created a structure from 8 to 9. What do you want to do? 9 to 10. What do you want to do? Put stuff. My requirement is that there has to be 2 hours of study and 1 hour of guitar. Okay, you place them wherever you want. So what happens is that they feel a sense of control. Okay, I have control over my day. Second thing is that they know what to do. They don't have to figure out every single time. So I just tell them, okay, what are you supposed to do at this time? She just goes to the timetable and says, okay, am I supposed to do this?
Yeah, nice.
So they have some kind of control over their day. It's very
Nice.
important. They cannot do it.
Imagine how helpful this will be when they become adults and this is a habit of theirs.
Oh, yeah.
Works totally in teams. What do you think, Rakesh?
Absolutely. I'm going to try it the next time.
All right. Wow. Thank you very much. 3 really, really good tips. Thank you, Bimal. I know you have loads more to share. So let's see interact with our audience a little bit. Hey, Barry. Barry, good to see you online. Tiffany. And if you have any questions, just type them in the comments. Tiffany says, hi, Bimal.
Yeah, I don't know where to type. I can't
personally.
type.
You can see that in the public chat, but the problem is we have it also on the group, and then we don't see those chats here. So hi, Annie. Annie says, after a day of studying, my son just cooked me dinner, washed the dishes, made me a cup of tea, and now he's going to the game. Going to game. I'm assuming that's a video game. But yeah, cool. Wow, he cooked you dinner. Nice. Maybe you can share with us what he cooked. I would like to know. So thank you very much, Bimal. Super helpful tips. Yes. All right, let's move to Mert. Mert, what would you like to share with us? What's your strategy or your story that you want to do?
Yeah, so when this lockdown started, we had to continue working from home. And a lot of our services are like face-to-face workshops, strategy meetings, etc. So we had to provide immediately some webinars or online trainings, which we didn't have actually. And I had no experience on how to use a webinar. And these are done with some really credible companies, and then we had to sell those, because we had to continue surviving as a business. And then we started selling them, but I was really scared. Like, I had to deliver all those training at home with my kids with a very bad Wi-Fi. It's 2 hours training. The content is not ready, and then all this preparation had to be done very quickly because they require those trainings when their teams are also working from home, and they need it urgently. So we have an option to say, no, we cannot deliver, but not really, right? So we went for it. And I said, okay, I'm going to deliver those, okay? Although I don't know anything. And it was like, we signed the contract, in 5 days, the first one starts. And then 10 another every week, okay? So, and then when I say I'm going to do it, all these negative things come up, how am I going to do it? Will they hate me? Will they like the content? What happens to the Wi-Fi? What if my little 2-year-old starts screaming at the back? I don't even have a table at the house,
Right.
Right now, I use like diaper boxes, so all these negative things rise up. But on the other hand, and this is instinctive, right? So this is like very natural fear. You cannot prevent these things coming up. But then also, I have a reflex. I have developed something over the years. I know that if I say yes, this is going to be a great adventure and this is going to transform me. I'm going to gain lots of great talents, and maybe I'm going to do something on webinars for myself. So I always wanted to deliver webinars. I love the content that I'm doing, and although it's a challenge, it's great. It's just a full learning thing, and we said yes. We solved everything, and it was very stressful. I worked a lot. I sometimes hated myself on why I said yes, but I've done already 10 webinars. Today, I feel great. And I feel great because all this time was meant to be for some self-development, personal development. I gained lots of great skills. And now I have one next week, and I'm really relaxed about it. I don't get stressed anymore. Having delivered already 10, it becomes very intuitive for me now.
Right.
It becomes one of my skills, right? So, and it's thanks to this lockdown period. Now that I have another skill, which is very useful to be to excel in my professional life.
Right. Very good. Yeah. So what's the lesson behind this now?
So the lesson is, Richard Branson always says, if you are offered an opportunity, just say yes and then figure out how to deliver it. And it's very true. We sometimes tend to wait things to be perfect. We work hard and we never propose it before reaching to that level. But I think what entrepreneurship is about, like having the confidence that you can deliver it even without having the right setup in. And you never know when the opportunity will come in. And if you wait for it, it's going to be too late. And I was not like that. Like if you rewind back and as a flashback, when I was in 20s, I said no to many opportunities because I believed I couldn't deliver.
Yes.
So which was totally wrong. And it was fear of not being successful. But success is irrelevant because it's the journey that it matters. And every time you deliver something, out of every experience, you learn something.
Yes.
And whether you fail or not is like really irrelevant because it's the learning that counts.
Yes. My mentor Blair always says, Blair Singer, you either win or you learn.
Exactly.
I use that every day. So
and yeah. And also, whether you win is also like, okay, you win, but what's next? You might lose next time. So it's all about once you complete something, what are you going to focus on next? And whether you win or not, it's always the same. Whether you lose or win, there is always going to be next step, a next competition, a next project, a next delivery.
Yes.
So maybe we should stop with like really intellectualizing this, did I win or not, or thinking too much about it, but really focus on what's next.
Yeah. And I love what you said also, focus on the journey. rather than just quote unquote the accomplishment. So when you get there, a lot of us were like, oh, okay, that was nice. What's next? But when we focus on the journey and the personal growth that we have during this period, this is a lot more beneficial to us as well, and a
Yeah,
lot more satisfactory because it's not so short term.
exactly.
Super helpful. Thank you very much. We have a couple of interactions here. Tiffany says, I will absolutely use that, Bimal. Yes, the little baby's only 3 months. She's going to give him structure. And he says, my son and I have built a mutually respectful relationship. Yes, still referring to Bimal. Thank you, Annie, for this. And I love this story. Congratulations, Mert. She's impressed.
Thank you.
Christelle is impressed. Christelle Pio. Thank you for joining. Yes, very, very impressive story and very super good, useful example for this time now. Rather than being in freeze mode and kind of like hesitating, check out the opportunities. And it's like a window, it's open for a certain time and then it closes and then it's gone. And then poof,
Yeah,
that's it. I'm pretty sure most of us have had opportunities we didn't take up on and we regretted that later.
exactly.
Is there anything you would like to add to this, Rakesh or Bimal?
No, I'm good for now.
You're good for now.
Well,
All right.
I
And-
think I love the story, Matt. Really shows me again what you were talking about before, resilience, and how important it's going to be in the next few years or in the next century almost. I feel there are two things that are super important. One is resilience, and the other is the ability to reframe. How can you reframe challenges into opportunities and look at them with a different mindset and make lemonade out of lemon, that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
very good. It's the way you look at things that gives them the meaning. You give them.
Totally.
Very good. All right, let's move to your topic. I can't wait for the Google design sprint technique.
Well, I think we live today in a collaborative economy where previously in the 2000s and the 90s, it was all about how do we create some great products for our customers? How do we keep them happy? Now, there are no borders anymore, and if you saw the news some time back, Twitter also announced that people can just work remote permanently. So that just changes everything. So, in this kind of a collaborative economy, how do you make sure that teams can efficiently, productively, and healthily create new products and services, create the right products and services, and still keep their customers in mind when they're doing that? So, this is the big question that the Google Design Sprint method answers. So the classic method was developed by two guys from Google Ventures, and it's a 5-day process. So you basically take a team, put them together for 5 days, and they go all the way from having an abstract question to creating a prototype and testing it with some potential users at the end of 5 days. So what you get through this process, again connecting back to what Mert and Vimal have been talking about, a lot of learning. So you get the opportunity to work together, to focus really well on something, and ask all the questions that you need. It's a best of everything almost. You get your business questions answered, you get your tech questions answered, you get the strategy questions answered, and you create something. So
Right.
you're not just talking about stuff, but you make it, you put
Mhm.
it in front of
Yeah.
users, ask them for feedback, and you get their feedback.
Okay, good. So unfortunately, we don't have 5 days, Rakesh. We
Yeah.
have about 5 minutes left. Can you give us the steps anyway?
So rather than talking about the method itself, like Bimal also said, I can fill many days with that. I think I would rather try to highlight some of the key values that this method infuses in teams. Trust, for example, it's a great trust builder because even when teams are sitting remotely, you can come together, you get the openness and transparency of working on something together, and you build trust that way.
Mhm.
It's great for creating an atmosphere of curiosity because there is no such question which is seen as a silly question or a bad question. Everything is allowed, everyone is allowed to be curious, and they use this curiosity, channel it in a very creative way, and create something useful out of that. So these are a couple of values that I think are very essential to teams, especially if they're sitting remotely. And yeah, this is one way of using the method and getting better in working together.
Okay, so can you still give us a couple of steps? How would you go typically about it if you had a team and the job is to design a new prototype for something?
Well, I think the key steps are the first step is really finding the right problem. So it's very normal for a lot of teams to lean towards the solution because most companies and organizations operate that way. They are like, hey, let's go throw something out there very quickly and find a solution. Instead, lean more towards the problem. That's really the first step. And find the right problem to solve. And half the battle is already won there.
How do you
So
go about that? How do you know if a problem is the right one or not?
again, a whole day workshop there.
I know you're selling the workshops now.
No, there are many frameworks that I use here, and I do even a separate session before we start the sprints of problem framing. So what you do is you try to get the team members and make them look at things from the customer's point of view, from whichever customer they are trying to serve, and try to identify the problems that these customers might face.
Right.
So you narrow them down.
By right problem, you mean the biggest problem for the client, not what we think.
Yes,
It is. Oh, okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So it's not about sitting in a black box and just finding problems that you like working on. Most engineers tend to do that.
And it's very expensive too.
Yes, super expensive. And that's where customer centricity is super important, where you need to train yourself to empathize with the customer. You try to put yourself in their shoes, look at the world through their eyes, try to see problems that they face and identify them. So, you start getting closer to these problems and you can pick the most critical problem that's worth solving for them.
Yes, very, very true. Thank you for that, Rakesh. And anybody listening, if you just got this piece is gold. Any business you would like to start or improve, this is the key. Go out and talk to the market and find out what they are really in pain with. And go from there. Take it from there. Find the right problem. Nice. All right. Anything you would like to add or ask any questions, Bimal or our audience or Mert?
I mean, coming from marketing background, I think it makes a lot of sense. We also had this challenge of really understanding what consumer wants. And also once you understand that, things become more easier to solve. And I also agree with you that trusting relationship within your team comes at the forefront of everything, because you will work under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. And the only way to kind of come over all those problems is, be ability to talk to each other in a transparent way, explain your issues openly. So I fully agree with your methodology.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mert.
totally. I agree. I come with 17 years of military background, so trust is something that is paramount in the military. That's one thing. And coming back to what my subject is, which is parenting. Again, trust is something. If the child trusts you completely and implicitly, and as parents, we do a lot of things that breaks their trust, and that is when remember that if the child loses trust in you, the child will lose respect for you. And if the child loses respect for you, that's a big problem, because he needs somebody to look up to, and he starts looking for role models outside the home, and that is when things go wrong.
Yes, very true. Thank you. So teams and parents and kids is very, very, very
Yes.
serious.
Very close.
Absolutely.
Did you guys read Patrick Langoni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team?
Nope.
Very, very interesting read. And he kind of puts it in layers. So he says absence of trust is one of the main reasons for a dysfunctional team. People don't trust each other. They don't trust their leader, and what happens is they're holding back. Everybody's holding back, and nobody's going in full force. And what happens is a lot of energy and a lot of good stuff getting lost.
Absolutely. Maybe I can just share one small hack that might be interesting for anyone listening. Taking a segue on this, how do you understand perspective in a team? So, one exercise that I use is ask all the team members to draw how they make toast on a piece of paper without using any words. It's super simple, it's very easy, but give them a minute, and once they've done this, they can all see how different their perspectives are. How somebody starts from, I'm going to harvest wheat first and then bake the bread, to someone just opening the bag of bread and throwing it into the toaster.
Really? So tell me again. So you ask them, how do you make toast? And then they draw it?
Yeah.
Someone goes to the store and buys the toast, and the other guy goes and plants some wheat.
Yes. Yeah, and that tells you so much about how people view complexity, right? Because there's a number of steps that you can show in a sketch. There are people who just show two steps. There are people who show 100 steps. So there's a sweet spot in between that, and you can understand so much in a team by saying, "Oh, this guy expects so much more information." If you see someone with many steps, that's a great lesson there, and understand. You can understand how better you can communicate with this person. So this is such an insightful exercise, and every time I do it, people go away with so many insights that they're like, okay, wow.
I'm going to use that in my next event.
Yeah, you should try that.
Very nice, very nice. Very nice.
One of the seminars that I attended last year is what we had to do. We had to color. We got a drawing. Everybody got the same, and we only got 2 crayons. We only got black and white, and we had to color it. And then the assignment was, after we colored it, we had to walk around the room and find someone who had colored it exactly the same way we did.
Okay, nice.
Nobody had the same. And this exercise also goes to show, there is no competition. There is no, everybody is so unique in their way. And this, what you just shared, is going in the same direction within a team.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very nice. I think this is going to be my takeaway for today.
Try it out. Let me know how it went.
Yeah, I will. I will let you know. All right. Let's wrap this up. Any final questions from our audience? Please put them in the comments now. And if not, I'm sincerely thanking you. Grateful for your presence and your generosity on sharing so freely all your tools. And yes, is there anything you want to say? One final advice or word? Bimal?
My advice always is focus on relationships, building relationships. Rest everything and happen if you have a great relationship.
Focus on relationships, yes. Business, teams, families, it doesn't matter. That's what's the glue that holds us together. Nice. Thank you. What about you, Mert? Final advice?
Keep seizing the opportunity despite the fear, despite the stress, and trust yourself. You're going to find a way to do it.
Trust yourself. Yes, I love that. And trust yourself. All right. What about you, Rakesh?
Well, I'd say if you're working in a team, try to get as much one-on-one time with your other teammates as possible. Get a coffee, get a beer, get a tea. And healthy teams usually are very open, and they're able to talk about everything with their team members. So try to connect as much as possible. That's the best way.
Nice. Goes directly into what Bimal said. Focus on relationships. Yes, one of my coaches said he's super successful in business, and he said 70% of his time goes towards building relationships.
Yep.
That's what he spends most of the time. He outsources everything else. He doesn't have to do himself. But yes. All right. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you again next week on Wednesday is the next show. Stay tuned. And
thank you.
Awesome and healthy.
Thank you for the opportunity, Natalie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.